Archbishop John continued to retain this liberal attitude toward the MP to the end of his life. Thus, in a letter dated September 13, 1963, he wrote, "When, under metropolitan anesthesia, they began to speak about the incorrect actions of the Church, he used to stop them, pointing out that one must not ascribe the actions of the hierarchy to the Church, since the hierarchy is not the whole Church, even if it speaks in her name. On the See of Constantinople there were Paul the Confessor, Macedonius, Gregory the Theologian, John Chrysostom, Nestorius, Proclus, Flavian, and Germanus. Some of them shone in sanctity and orthodoxy, but others were the leaders of heresies. But the Church remained orthodox. During iconoclasm after the expulsion of Severin, Nicephorus, and other, not only their sees, but also the majority of episcopal sees were occupied by Arians. The other churches did not even have communion with it, the See of Constantinople, according to the witness of St. Paul, who abandoned the heresy and his see, since they did not wish to have communion via the iconoclasts. Nevertheless, the Church of Constantinople remained orthodox, although part of the people, and especially the guards and the bureaucrats, were drawn into iconoclasm. So now it is understandable when people who are not familiar with the language of the Church use the expression Soviet Church, but it is not fitting for responsible and theological discussions. When the whole hierarchy of southwestern Rus passed into Uniatism, the Church continued to exist in the person of the believing Orthodox people, which after many sufferings restored its hierarchy. For that reason, it is more correct to speak not of the Soviet Church, which is impossible in the correct understanding of the word church, but of the hierarchy which serves Soviet power, v. Mos, New Zion in Babylon. 4 p. 123-124.
This is falsehood. The See of Constantinople, while it was occupied by different heretics, iconoclasts, Arians, monothelites, Nestorians, etc., it was not orthodox, it was heretical. And only for that reason the Orthodox people were not in communion with that see, nor other sees that fell into apostasy. That's the reason why Saint Basil the Great reposed outside of communion with the See of Constantinople, because it was occupied by Arians and Semi-Arians. Saint Maximus the Confessor ceased communion with all the 5 patriarchates when they fell into monothelitism, etc.